Right, so here is this morning's breakfast. So I've got 5 eggs over here, so I'm getting plenty of protein, around about 25 to 30 grams of protein. Also roughly around about 20 grams of fat over here as well. Got my black coffee. I've got some French toast crunch, which I picked up yesterday. Similar to the cinnamon toast crunch, but just little French toast shapes. So 25 grams of carbohydrates over there. I've just got some water in this Starbucks cup. And then over here I've got 110 grams of oats, 100 grams of mixed berries, and then 30 grams of this Reese's spread. So big breakfast, plenty of calories. Today is leg day, so getting in a lot of carbohydrates. So for this meal, I've got a total of 110 grams of carbs, 40 grams of fat, and roughly 40 to 50 grams of protein. Alright, so I've just finished up my morning clients now, and I'm gonna head to the supermarket to go and pick up a few things. I've got most of the stuff I need for the week. I just need to get some veggies, some protein, so I'll grab some red meat, some chicken breast, and maybe a bit of Greek yogurt. And then after that, I've got a bit of online stuff to do, so a few new nutrition plans and some programs for some new clients. And then I'm also going to do a bit of study today, so just have a read over a few different research papers and a few different articles that I want to check out on different topics to do with nutrition and training. I think it's really important to make sure that you're always continuing to learn and not getting complacent with what you know, because especially in the health and fitness industry, things change all the time. So I'm going to get that done, and then later on today I've got a photo shoot with Uncle Jack, not with Uncle Jack, with Athletikan out of their HQ, and then some more clients. I've got a leg day today, which I'll film a few sets of leg day. Yeah, just busy day today, guys, but just kind of just what goes into a normal day. For me, each and every day is pretty different, like, to be perfectly honest, especially with personal training. That's one thing. If you're looking at getting into personal training, you got to understand that it's not really consistent. It's not like you're going to be working exact same hours every single day. It's really different all the time. So I'm lucky that I have the online coaching side of things, so I'm pretty much just busy all the time. If I'm quiet with personal training clients, sometimes that's a bit of a blessing in disguise, because it gives me time to work on the online side of things. But yeah, as a personal trainer, it is inconsistent, especially at this time of the year. Like, I find November, December, January, people are away. People just maybe putting their money towards other things coming towards this end of the year. So it can be inconsistent, but that's cool. Like I like I said, at the moment I take advantage of the times where I might have clients away, or I might have clients that aren't training at the moment, and I get more online stuff done. So I'll keep you guys up to date with what I get up to for the rest of the day. Okay, so here's what I picked up. I got some extra lean beef burgers. So per burger, the macros on these are 6.6 grams of fat, 4.6 grams of carbohydrates, and 11 grams of protein. So, you know, I might cook these up tonight for dinner and have 4 or 5 of these. I got 4 of these YoPros, 17 grams of protein per tub, so just Greek yogurt. I also got a Scotch fillet steak, a heap of broccoli and broccolini in here. These are on half price, so I just got another one of these tomato ketchup, less added sugar and salt. Another mustard, some frozen berries from my oats in the morning, some bagels. I've been adding bagels back into the mix to get the carbs up, and I just really enjoy bagels. Some of these wholemeal sandwich thins by Tip Top. These are really good, really low in calories, 99 calories per sandwich thin, but there's 2 of them in the one thin. Also got some spinach to add in with some sandwiches, or add into the bagels if I have them with meat. A couple of Coke Zeros and some peas, which I've been having with my tuna and rice. And that's all I got, guys. I didn't really need too much, so that's my little grocery haul for the morning, and I'm going to cook up meal 1 soon and start this study. So I'm about an hour into doing a little bit of study, and I'm actually just putting together this week's episode of the podcast at the moment, which is going to be a little bit different to the usual episode. I've extracted some audio from one of the videos inside the Flexible Dieting Coaching group earlier last week, speaking about a couple of different approaches to take into the festive season in terms of your eating and drinking. I'm talking things like, obviously birthdays is year round, but we've got things now, especially in Australia in summer, with Christmas parties, summer events. We'll then have Christmas, New Year's. So there's a lot to work around, and it can be pretty daunting if you don't know what you're doing in terms of your nutrition and training, and it can even be relatively stressful. People tend to make drastic changes to their nutrition and training based around these events because they feel guilty, or they feel like they're going to lose progress or go way off track with their health and fitness goals. Now, this just creates a really unhealthy and shitty relationship with food and training, which is not what we want. We want a flexible and sustainable approach. So this podcast episode is just going into detail about how I approach these events and how you guys can approach it as well to make sure that you're continuing to lose fat or build muscle, whatever your goal is, throughout the festive season without having to stress about it. So be sure to go and check that out. I'll have a link to my podcast in the notes below. But I'm going to cook up a meal soon. I'm pretty hungry. I've just had another coffee, which has suppressed the appetite just a little bit. But I think it's time to eat, so I'm going to show you what I'm about to have. Bad news, guys. I accidentally ate lunch and didn't show you what I had. So this is the crime scene just here. And I'm just finishing off my Coke Zero now, watching Steve Hall and Berto Nunez podcast, which is really sick, but I better show you what I had. So I was obviously pretty hungry because I didn't video any of it, but I had one of these cans of tuna, so yellowfin. Oh, I don't know, it's not focusing. This is the tuna I usually go with, either this or Serena tuna. And then 125 grams of white rice. I also added in some soy sauce. I absolutely love soy sauce, and because I'm not that kind of worried at the moment about my sodium intake and whether or not I'm holding much water, I tend to add a little bit more soy sauce to my rice meals. And then with it, I also had about 100 grams of these peas. Absolutely love peas with my tuna and rice. I just find it adds a lot more volume, a little bit more flavour, and it fills me up so much more with the fibre in there. So that's meal two, yeah. So there was relatively spaced out between breakfast. Keep in mind I had a high calorie, high carbohydrate breakfast, so I didn't really feel that hungry until later in the morning. And I had a couple of coffees, which helped suppress my appetite. So that's 2 meals in. Today I'll probably end up having, so I've got another one coming up soon, so that'll be 3, 4, I'll probably have about 5 meals for the day. And then I'll also have intra-workout carbohydrates, which is going to be 60 grams of carbs coming from lollies. That'll be my intra carbs, and then the very last meal of the day will be my casein protein, which you guys probably seen before, but I'll show you later on, just in case you haven't seen it. But that's what today's going to look like. The macros I'll be shooting for will be protein, 215 grams of high biological value protein, and then whatever other protein comes with that. Carbohydrates are anywhere between 300 and 350, depending on how hungry I am or how I'm kind of feeling throughout the day. And fats will be right on 100 grams. So that's the macros for today, guys. I'm going to get back into a bit more study before heading over to Uncle Jack and Athletikan HQ. Go and get some photos this afternoon. Just thought I'd show you guys a new square range from Uncle Jack watches. These just came in today, or I just got mine today anyway. So this is the material band, the black and white material with the square face on it. There's 3 other different colors, but you guys can use my code DJKFitness10 and get 10% off. Really nice watches. So the next meal before I leave the house, I've got 30 grams of Nutella and one of these bagels, so getting in carbs and fats before I leave. Got plenty of protein to take back with me to work. So this is around about 50 grams of carbohydrates coming from the bagel and roughly 10 to 15 grams of fats from the Nutella, plus an extra 5 or 10 grams of carbs. minutes in and it's coffee break. Thanks, Big Dog. So today we're getting shots for Athletikan, Bing, and hacking as well. So you guys will see more of that stuff coming up soon. But we're just shooting outside Joe's house. Just about to head back into work, and I'm going to have 2 of these low carb bars. Got the Rocky Road flavour here, and then the hazelnut one in my bag, which I'll have when I get out as well. So just getting about 35 grams of protein here. Alright, so this is just a few clips from today's lower body day. So last week I had a really shitty leg session on Friday, and I was pretty annoyed about it because I'd been training really well, but I kind of thought to myself, you know, I've had a really good few weeks. I hadn't slept well the night before. Just wasn't feeling that motivated, and probably didn't put enough time into my warm-up that day either. So there was plenty of reasons why the session wasn't great, but I was adamant that this week was going to be a good one, and it was. It was a really good session. Started off the session here with RDLs, which you're seeing at the moment. This was my top set, so 6 reps at 160 kilos, which is a huge PB for me. So the session started on a really good note. After that, I went to leg press, which you're going to see in a second. I then went on to, I did calf raises, so I did 2 variations of calf raises. I then did single leg hamstring curls, barbell split squats, and then finished off the session with 7 sets of sled pushes, doing 20 seconds at max effort with 60 seconds recovery between sets. But all in all, this was a really good session. The leg press you're seeing at the moment was 3 sets of 12 at 300 kilos. Which felt pretty heavy. I think I need to do a little bit more myofascial release work at the moment. So things like foam rolling, even using the spiky ball through my TFLs and hips and glute meads and everything like that. But this leg session was fantastic. I made sure I slept well, was hydrated, really timed my carbohydrates pre-workout, did a really good warm-up, had an unreal playlist going on here, and then just made sure I knew what numbers I wanted to hit. Went in, hit the session with intensity, and it was a much better session. So I think last week was just a one-off, and we're back on track, guys. So I was super stoked with the session. Hope you're enjoying the vlog so far in this different style of video. Plenty more to come, so stay tuned. What up, guys? So I just got home from work, had a shower, and now I'm cooking up the last meal of the day. So I've got a ton of broccoli in here. So there's probably about 200 grams of broccoli in there. I've got these extra lean beef patties cooking up over here, so there's 3 of those, which gives me 35 grams of protein, about 20 grams of fat. And then I'm going to put those burgers in some of these wholemeal sandwich thins by Tip Top Thins. So there'll be 2 of these, which is 30 grams of carbohydrates. And then I'm also going to have some spinach, and then I may add some of this reduced salt and reduced sugar tomato ketchup. Just watch my boy Mitch Creek tear it up for the Boomers. But this will be the last meal of the day. I was going to have a casein shake before bed, but because I'm having these bread thins, that actually bumped up my calories a little bit higher than what they were going to be. Or it put me at the higher range of my carbohydrates. So I'm going to finish my carbs at 350 today. So my range was 300 to 350. So because this will be a high protein meal and I'm going to go to bed relatively soon, there's really no need to have a casein shake afterwards as well. So this will be the last meal of the day. And here we are, the final product. So we've got our broccoli, put on some reduced sugar ketchup, got 3 of these burgers, extra lean beef burgers, 2 servings of the whole meal bread top thins, some spinach in there, and of course washing it down with a Coke Zero, and this is the last meal of the day. So this will fill me up nice and good, plenty of fiber from the broccoli, good amount of carbohydrates and plenty of protein and fats to hold me over till the morning time. So these are my nighttime sups. I've got BPM Labs, the Delta Zone for my sleep product, or my sleep supplement. This is what I use before I go to bed. And then also Salt Lab Magnesium Oil, which I use about 3 to 5 sprays on my stomach before I hop in bed. Just helps with recovery, helps me go to sleep a little bit quicker. I usually have these about 15 minutes before I'm about to head off to sleep.